Hey everybody. Today I wanted to talk about why we should not be fearful or worry about Trump as our president. And I have this lovely serene image here in the background so that you can help calm yourself for any of you that are freaking out. Basically what's happening is we are on an accelerated path of awakening. And if you think about it in terms of an individual, if you have a traumatic event or you have a difficult circumstance in your life, usually that is the impetus to learn something from that, right? And it may not be fun going through that thing, but the learning that you acquire from that situation is so beneficial that it could change the whole rest of your life and will change your relationships and everything about you. So as a collective, we're going through that. We're going through an accelerated path of awakening. And it's difficult to watch for some of us that already sort of have qualities of unity and love for our society, to see the division and to see people doing things that we believe are unloving or dealing with stuff that is unequal. But what it is exposing those beliefs and exploring them so that we can figure out if that's really what we want to have in our society. And a lot of people that hold those beliefs need to be shown them very strongly for them to change. And so strongly that they may have issues in their own life that arise out of this situation, right? So the best way to wake up is to have it directly affect you. So that's what's happening. Things are going to be directly affecting us from the circumstances in the political environment, and we're going to have to deal with them. But it's also causing us to take a lot of action. So even people who are already thinking more positively about how we want to run our society and not wanting this division, we are now taking action, right? These people are stepping up. People who just weren't thinking about running in government are now going to be running in government and trying to change things. More women, more people of color are going to be representing us, and that is going to be immensely helpful in going forward. And they might not have done that, a lot of them, if it wasn't for the Trump presidency, if it wasn't for this sort of shocking event that is causing us to say, hey, this isn't what we want. We want something much better than this, and this is not at all how we want our society to be run. And that's a great thing. That's an excellent thing. And yes, it's provoking a lot of us, but what I encourage you to do is not get rushed to anger or get rushed to freaking out or worrying, because whatever you give attention to, that's what you're actually going to draw more into your life. So if you're very worried, if you think about a person that's a worrier, if they're worried all the time, they're actually emphasizing that worry instead of thinking about how things are going right or what's actually benefiting them based on this scenario. So what I would encourage you to do is look at the positive stuff that's coming out of this. And anytime you see these news articles or whatever the president has done that particular day, think about how that's propelling people to action, how that's challenging the beliefs that are held about that and really exposing that for what it is. I mean, you couldn't have a better person to expose some of the fallacies of these beliefs of division and, inequality. So it's really right out there so everyone can see it. It's not under the carpet anymore. It is in our faces. And that's where it needs to be. And I think that Eckhart Tolle said a really great quote, which is, life gives us whatever we need most to awaken and to expand our consciousness. And how do you know that that is the experience you need? It's because it's the one you're having. So if you're having that experience, you need it for the evolution of your consciousness, and it's at the right point for it to happen. So we are at the right point for this to happen, and we are going to be able to deal with it and move forward in a positive way. And it's just going to be exposing, the dark underbelly of our society. And that's great. So it's hard in a way to see all this happening, but you realize at a deep level, it's really a catharsis for us as a society. So don't be fretting about it. Don't be worried about it. Don't feed into that fear-based model of thinking, and think about the positive stuff and think about how you can take action in a positive way. Not by arguing with people, because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to have their minds changed. And if you're sitting there heckling them about it, or if they change their mind, say, well, you voted for him in the first place. No, that's the point where we want to be accepting and grateful to that person for changing their mind, because that is a difficult thing to do. And if they have done that, that's amazing. And now they are, with us on this journey of building a better society. So just be careful when you're interacting with people to make sure you're not discouraging them or disparaging them for changing their beliefs or having a certain set of beliefs and then, evolving, because that's what we want them to do. You want more people to do that. And a lot of times, if you take a really adversarial stance, what happens is people just sort of back into the corner. They dig in, and I call it, like the rabid raccoon scenario. Like they're cornered, you're yelling at them, they get all like defensive and they're just in attack mode. So they're not in a mode where they're able to actually receive information in a way that will be helpful. So it's better to do it in a calm way, in a way that isn't telling them that they're wrong, just maybe offering another point of view. So let me give you an example. If somebody says, I want to build the wall, right? Like we need a wall on the border between Mexico and the US. Instead of saying, well, that's ridiculous, we don't need a wall, it's a waste of money, you could just say, well, that's interesting. Do you think it's better to build a wall or to make sure everybody has health care? And you don't have to even say that that's what you think. You can just sort of pose that as a possibility out there. And don't engage with them in an adversarial way. And if they start doing it, like scale it back. You're in control of the interaction. So I think being loving towards people, even when they have a difference of opinion, will actually help change minds faster and will be more effective in the long run too, of building a community that's solid and loving and accepting of each other. So think about that, as you're online on Facebook commenting stuff and dealing with the various, sorry, my low battery came up there. And, dealing with this in your daily lives and interacting with people. So you have to allow people the space to change, and you have to allow people the time to see what their beliefs are truly resulting in. So, and don't worry, you don't need to teach that person. Life will teach that person. So you don't need to worry about being the person who's out there, I got to tell everybody why they're wrong. Life is set up to teach us those lessons. So you don't need to be that for everyone. You might be that person that helps, drop the little seed between the sidewalk cracks and then they can grow that, right? So just think about it as more of dropping, different ideas for them to ponder rather than attacking them or telling them they're wrong and things like that. So I actually think the Trump presidency is going to do a lot of wonderful things. I initially was extremely sad about it myself as well. That very day, it felt like a death, right? It honestly felt like a death of somebody very close to me. That's how bad I felt. My chickens didn't lay eggs for a week. I don't know if it's because they were reading my own feelings or this collective society's feelings about what had just happened. But it was just very interesting. It took me a little while to turn that around and to see how this is going to be beneficial, but it is. And we already see this happening. So try to stay positive. And what I would suggest to you is don't read the news all the time, okay? What I tend to do is skim the headlines so I sort of know what's going on, but I don't feed into that or start getting worried about it or get obsessive about a certain thing that's being said or being done. That's sort of helpful to me. I also try to watch a lot of the comedians report on this stuff because it helps keep it light. It helps show some of the ridiculousness of the scenario in a lighthearted way, and that can be very helpful in sort of keeping it light. So I also think another good thing to do is to, basically just sort of step back and enjoy your life the way it is. Enjoy all the good things that are happening in your life and not focus on sort of the larger collective because you don't necessarily have a direct impact on a lot of things that are happening and know where your sphere of influence lies. So if you can get involved locally or even just being kind to people, I've actually just tried to be extra kind and extra friendly to everybody that I meet, just to sort of build a community of positivity and connection in society. So you can focus on doing things like that to just help improve our society, and it doesn't have to be big moves. It doesn't have to be adversarial. Now, if you're somebody who thinks that, going to, a protest or a demonstration, that you enjoy that and you think that that is how you can express yourself, definitely go do that. But just make sure you're doing it in a peaceful and loving way. And it's great for everyone to stand up and say, this is what I believe in, but you need to do it in a way that is breeding more love and acceptance and not more division. So just think about that when you are engaging in those activities. But it will be fine. Everybody take a deep breath. we will get through this, and we will get through this and become a better society afterward. All right, take care, guys.